It's a hot, humid morning with a gentle breeze blowing. Where are we? Not just in our thoughts and ideas, which are always ready to respond, aren't they? But where are we? Right now, without thoughts and ideas? Or rather, put it this way, not taking the thoughts and ideas about myself to be the truth and the whole truth about myself. What am I without thoughts and ideas? I can't think about that, can I? And thought wants to think. It's been doing it for thousands of years. Imagining itself to be somebody, something. First of all, this body. Second of all the imagery connected with it. Are we just listening to words, or are we looking? Looking how identified we are with this body, my pain, my ecstasy, my friends and my enemies. My abilities, my desires, my yearnings, my fears. Always this my there. The language does its job to reinforce the idea, the conviction that somehow connected with this body is an owner, somebody who has it, who controls it. And that somebody is pictured in images. We have images of ourselves, don't we? As we sit here right now, is there a body image with the clothes on? Neurologists tell us without this body image we would be almost totally dysfunctional. And cases are cited of people who, through some nervous disease or dysfunction, lose that body image and cannot get out of bed. So, it's something very normal, natural, necessary, organic to having a body image. Understanding that when this hand hits this arm, it's of the same body. It's not somebody else hitting it, which happens to people who lose that capacity to image oneself, this body, in its functions. How far to reach to grab the salt and pepper shaker, which is very squeaky right now. It's good to realize people are not so inhibited by that squeak that they still put pepper on their food. Can you oil a pepper? shaker? I don't think one should do that. So, what else is there in addition to this plain, organic, natural, necessary body image? Due to this amazing capacity of the brain to create, to embellish through imagery and memory and idea. There are ideas whether I'm good looking or not good looking, as good looking as someone else. Whether I'm important or unimportant, good or bad, intelligent or dumb, fast or slow. These things have been said to us in time and over time, lots of times. And the brain remembers it all, stores it, and puts it onto that image of oneself. It becomes many-faceted, almost infinite-faceted, because at any moment a new image about myself can either take the place of one that's already there or be added to it. Can one follow this? How good I am at my work in the kitchen or at cleaning, or why did I get the cleaning job? Is an image connected with cleaning toilets or working in the kitchen? The mind may not be so quick to understand itself or to become visible, transparently visible to itself. It may take some time because the mind has been used to project outwardly, to become involved in what is seen and heard and felt and wanted and feared. Involved, which we talked about it yesterday, in the objects of its senses, the objects of its perception. And even though there's a strong feeling that I'm good, I'm bad, others are better looking than I am, cleverer than I am, or I'm more intelligent than the other stupid ones, to really catch it as it arises inwardly seems to be not an easy thing, even though it is entirely possible for human beings to become aware of that, of images as they arise. Even though the mind may not be trained to be aware of its inner ongoings, it isn't trained that way. And in a lot of spiritual training, the mind is also trained to focus objectively on something, to focus on a spot in the body, high or low, belly or forehead, nose, tip of the nose, heart, maybe varying places at varying times. Mind may be trained to concentrate on counting the breathing. May be trained on watching or experiencing the breathing, which still has this some kind of an objectification, by which I mean the absence of being aware of concentrating on breathing. An awareness that this is going on right now, that an idea is behind it, an idea of me doing it, the practice that I am doing, and the goal that looms. If I do it well, long enough, arduously enough. So the experience of breathing, if we take that as an example, takes place under the sponsorship of thought. Do this and you will get that. Or the sponsorship of memory. I did it and it worked. It made me more peaceful, more at ease, calmed the mind down. Let me ask right now, do I sound as though I was critical of this? Because I'm not. I'm just looking at things in a dispassionate way, so that there can be some fresh observation of what is going on in ourselves and each other. So, even though the mind may be well trained to concentrate, focus on a spot in this body, which needs to be imaged, to concentrate on the hara, this area in the lower belly, it has to be imaged too, doesn't it? We were told 4 fingers below the navel. It wasn't easy in the beginning to image that. To help it out, it was said, put the hand there and concentrate into the palm of your hand, so that's sort of approximately the area in the belly where it's important to concentrate attention. And right now someone suggests or asks, oh, that's possible to be aware of the thought arising in the mind of what I should do, aware of the goals that are fixed in the mind of what I want to attain, and most importantly, to question who that is, that I that is doing this. What does it feel like? What is it made up of? What are its ingredients? This I feeling. I must, I have to, I'm good at it, I'm no good. It seems so impossible at first, because the mind isn't trained that way. It doesn't want that. It says, give me a practice, I'm good at that. Oh, that's something I can learn. The other, I have no way, you don't give me any way of learning about this. Right now, this moment, what thoughts are in the mind? What images? They're there, not as clear as a photograph, not as clear as looking directly at a person. You can have an image of that person. Have an image of your friend, your brother, father, mother, lover, who's not here. Have an image of it. Look at that. Look at that. It may be a misleading expression. Let it be there. Let it come into awareness. An image of a friend. It's fuzzy. It's not too colorful. But it is there. Or a word. The name of the person. A remembered incident. What a good time you had together. Right now, without opening the eyes, closing the eyes for a moment, there is an image of this wooden floor, isn't there, or of the brown mat on which one is sitting. There's image of the two knees protruding, the hands on the thighs. And now opening the eyes, there it is. It's not the image. It's right there. And closing the eyes again, the image is right there. The remembrance of what has just been seen. That's there, isn't it? One can play with this, experiment with it, so that there is a new way of detecting imagery in the mind. Does the question come up, well, for what? For what should I do that? What's the use of it? This body, with all of its feelings and emotions and fears and cravings and hopes and depressions, is so thoroughly conditioned by imagery, by words, by pictures, by remembrances. And yet there is no or little awareness of it. Some of the memories are so hidden that an emotion arises and there's no way of realizing or seeing what memory brought about this despair or anxiety. Of course, we're told, medical science, that there may be chemical changes going on in the brain or body, which may cause what is called depression. And if this is what is happening right at this instant of feeling depressed, sad, immovable, heavy, if it has been brought on by a chemical change, there may be no imagery involved, no memory that triggered it. It may be that. Who knows? Who knows? We know very little about this. But we also know from experience, I haven't the personal experience, but people who have told me or are telling me that taking chemicals, certain chemicals, can lift a depression. All of a sudden feeling lighter, more assertive, seeing colors again. One person told me for a long time the world was gray and gray. Now it has color again. So we're not making any statements that everything that is experienced in this body is caused or has had a contributing factor of thoughts and imagery. But one can observe for oneself, and it gets to be easier over time and quicker and clearer, that one thought traveling in this brain arouses the whole body to fear or anxiety, heaviness or lightness, with no one doing it, no one controlling it. It happens. Maybe some song of a bird or a feeling of moist, humid air triggered the memory that triggers the body. Remembering a warm, humid day in Grandma's backyard, which was so nice, wonderful cookies, and no parents on one's back. I'm just inventing this right now. I didn't have a grandma with a backyard. Although I had a very dear grandma, I remember her very lovingly. Right now, the thought, the picture of her from a photograph is present in the mind. And me sort of nestled half standing, half sitting near her in her lap. She was always kind. She never got angry. She drooled a bit when she kissed. That wasn't so pleasant. But right now the picture of the grandma, and whoever has or has had grandmas can picture it and see the picture in the mind. It works, doesn't it? But the picture of the grandma is not this grandma. I don't know. She's gone. She's died. She's finished. But there are pictures of her, and pictures also in the albums that came to each one of us children from my parents, carefully pasted up. There were pictures of when the grandma was younger. And the mother was a teenager, beautiful teenager. Nice looking mother. So, which of these pictures is the grandma? Which of these pictures in the photo album or in the mind is the mother? It's just all pictures, isn't it? That's not an assumption, it's a fact right now. My mother is a picture, a remembrance. Whether she's alive or not, right now, it's pictures. And when we really see her, my mother, your mother, father, wife, lover, are they real, really there, as they are this very instant, or are they pictures of how we want them to be? How we remember them to have been? How we wish they were. One person told this recently in a meeting. I don't quite remember the occasion right now. That being away from his parents, thinking about them, and we can all do this right now, thinking about our parents. For this particular person, at the time he was relating or talking about, anger would build up, or whatever the emotions were, not very positive about these parents of his, these parents of mine. And it building up to such a pitch that finally going to see these parents, and who opened the door but two little old people? For a moment, when we see each other again freshly, the imagery collapses. Does it? And how quickly is it built up again? I wish you weren't like this. I wish you were happy and smiling all the time. So if for a moment, what image came up in this mind is a couple of so-called Serbian soldiers on a mountain ridge firing into a kettle, which is a city, kettled in between mountains and hills. And a picture of a birthday party of a little child, Muslim child, fired into. Some people did. There's still the birthday cake. And this little girl with bright eyes lost her father and a friend, I don't remember now. These men in their uniforms with their guns, what an identity. To have a uniform, a helmet, and a big gun. One can feel oneself into that, can't one? The power. Plus all the pictures of those people below in the kettle. falsifications that the mind produces so readily. The seemingly so intelligent brain capable of producing such falsehoods and believing them to be true and not checking out before we fire the next thing. Let's meet together and look at each other, what we really are. For that we'd have to maybe take the uniforms off, I don't know. Maybe it's possible in uniform. There are such stories. To suddenly see the enemy as a human being and unable to fire. So, I'm not just trying to arouse a lot of sentiment and sense of tragedy, although it is there to be touched at any time. But to use this example to show the mind that says, well, what use is it to see how I'm functioning? Okay, so I do produce images, so what? To see the danger of it, the consequences of it, which are not over there in the Balkan countries, but right here. In ourselves, in our midst, all around us, right here. Images of each other and sentiments of hatred or resentment, anger, caused by what I remember you to be or to have done to me yesterday or for the last 10 years. And these images holding this body-mind hostage. Not allowing it to check again, freshly. What are we really, you and me? What are we really, you and me? What am I really? Beside this wealth of pictures, wealth of remembrances, including the collective unconscious, full of pictures, full of symbols. What am I really this moment of sitting quietly and raising the question? Anew, not an old question, what am I, what am I, what am I? That's not the point. Raising it freshly, openly. Perceiving imagery that comes up and putting it aside, letting them go like clouds. Beautiful to watch clouds, isn't it? How they form. As a child, I loved to watch these tigers and dogs, and sometimes in battle, sometimes lying down, asleep. And I wanted so much to fix them. How does the change happen? Because later when I looked, the tiger was gone. So I would try to fixate on it. How does that tiger go? I still do it. We have 2 chairs on the back patio and a wonderful view to the western sky with lots of clouds drenched by sunlight, sinking sunlight. It's an image right now, which arouses some good feeling. How does the tiger go? How does the change happen? The amazing thing is when it's really possible to keep it there, keep attention there, keep looking, then it's just always what it is. And there's no feeling of loss that the tiger is gone. Because now it is what it is. This sounds like comforting oneself, but I'm not saying, I don't mean that. It is so. So, in sitting here this moment, no need to imagine backyards. We're here. Are we here? Right here, sitting here. The legs, the body, the arms, the armpits, wet. Neck, is it a little sore? Are the shoulders tense? Wow. Whatever that is. Firecrackers, thunder, these are different words, different ideas. But what is it? Oh, that's what it is. Not like that, though. Sounds of whatever, feelings, sights, and yet not, I hear this, I don't see that, I feel this, but let's leave the I out. Don't have to say it this way, even though it's a habit, a strong habit. But it's not necessary, it's just the quivering of leaves, some coolness, wetness, bodiness. And such stillness. Is everything happening in stillness? The stillness of not interfering, of not imaging, not wanting it to be different. Is that stillness there for moments at a time? People report it. The amazingness of it. Amazing, because in this stillness all is well. These are words, but there's a feeling like that. It's okay. Everything is okay. And it has no separating thing. Because it permeates the crow calling, the tree shivering, and this body sweating. Permeated by stillness. Sound of traffic. We started out with the question, what am I? When it becomes somewhat clearer that maybe I'm not all these ideas, albeit there's great attachment to these ideas and images about myself. Immense attachment. And that attachment is not an abstraction. Let's get away from all abstractions and always ask ourselves or each other, what do I mean by attachment? What do you mean when you use that word? So that we descend from floating concepts into what is really happening. This moment of saying, I feel so attached to my image. Are we referring to a trickling of fear at the idea that I may have to give up this image to feel this vast silence, which I want. I want that vast silence. I want to feel that. But then there's the thought, maybe for that I have to give myself up, as I know myself. And the fear at that thought indicates, albeit indirectly, an attachment to my imagery of myself. Because if there was no attachment, why would there be fear at the idea or thought of loss? One person put that very well. He said the feel tremendous wellspring of energy welling up in this body. Feels tremendous. And yet there's fear there. And in exploring it, she said, yes, fear that I may have to give up what I love. Myself, my family, my house. You see the power of ideas to block out what's real, what's there. Vast energy, silent stillness or still silence, with thunder clapping, birds singing, breeze cooling. Also, an indication of attachment is how often something keeps coming up in the mind and body over and over again. What I remember, what I am, what I will be, my possessions, my future, my accomplishments, my children, husband, wife, lover, the coming up of these images and the pleasant feelings connected with it, pleasurable feelings, and wanting more of those pleasurable feelings, just as one wants more food that tastes so good. Well, there's a desire to prolong the time of tasting something good, isn't there? Attached to the taste is another way of putting it, but observe it in oneself as it happens. So things move from conceptualization to observing what is happening. And the amazing fact that there is not just attachment to pleasant feelings, but also attachment to unpleasant feelings. Habituation to them, feeling at home with unpleasantness. Because it's all one knows or has been habituated to. It has become one's existence. And even though there is suffering, agonizing about it, the mind doesn't want to let go of its story, of itself. Amazing. But it happens to us, doesn't it? Happens to human beings like you and me. And maybe for a while not a spark of awareness of what's going on. So used to it, so habituated to it, so taking it for granted that a space hasn't arisen yet where the sun can shine through and illuminate. Came up yesterday in some connection in a group meeting, how difficult it is to be aware of oneself and the effect one has on others. So used to the scene, or so overpowered by the pain inside, the anguish. Depressedness or whatever. And yet, thinking this is my home, one doesn't even put it explicitly like this, but this is how the whole feeling goes, because the mind can't let go of it yet at this moment. Or can it? Or need it? Or is there an entirely different way, not battling mind with mind, trying to change behavior through behavior modification, or reward, punishment for behaving this way, and then a new track is laid down? That's what we try to do with each other. That's how we were raised. First, behavior caused by certain things in the environment and internal environment, and then being blamed for that behavior. Amazing what we put on ourselves and our children, due to all kinds of causes and conditions. They are what they are, and then we blame them for being what they are. We wish they were different, and it never ends. We do it to each other as adults. Amazing. So we were asking, is there an entirely different way, not fighting mind with mind, thought with thought, imagery with imagery, willpower with willpower? What other way is there? Right now, we're all sitting so quietly. Maybe a little drowsy, maybe somebody's asleep. Maybe open or opening. And wondering about this coolness and light and wet and sounds and sights. Quietly wondering, without immediately knowing, oh, of course I know this and this came from that. It's not required. Nothing is required. Everything is here. In warm, moist stillness. With a cool wind blowing over it all, through it. Where in this unfolding openness is the thought and imagery of me and you? Is it quieting down? Is it there at all? It can come up. I can picture you sitting in front of me, picture myself sitting here. But these are just pictures like clouds in a vast sky. And that vast sky is not asking anything for itself. It doesn't need anything. Therefore it doesn't fear anything. It's just the bells ringing. Or is it a memory of this morning? Church bells? Yeah, there they are. So what am I? Before thought fixes us again in memory. we will end here for today.